Welcome to the Radio Horror YouTube channel and the back into the Saw universe. I thought we had escaped the Saw films way back in what 2012 or 2011 when Saw 7 came out and there was all the retcons. I, I recently did kind of like a review on a channel on someone else's channel, Action Geek, yeah, actiongeek.com, about Saw 2, and every time we were watching it, because we were doing it because Saw 1.5, which is what this is, was coming out, we kept saying, "Oh, is this when Amanda's doing it? Oh wait, is this when the cop is doing it, or is this when what's his name, the doctor is doing it?" And they don't let you do that in this film, thankfully. They don't let you try and figure out if the retcons are in place anywhere until, except for one little phone call that's made connected to a mid-credit scene. But this film was okay. It was better than I was expecting it to be. It's very self-contained in the kind of like one little area for most of the film, which is pretty nice. Um, but if you're a fan of the series, I guess go see it. I honestly always thought Jigsaw, which was like the prequel to the entire thing, was okay as well. You don't really know that film is a prequel until you kind of get to the end of the movie, really. But this film is it gives you what you want. It gives you back characters who got killed off in the third film. They say they're going to do another one, and I'm like, what are we going to do with that one? Is that going to be 2.5? I mean, what? How much further in the timeline can we go? Are we doing? Is it still going to take place before two? Or are we just going to do a bunch of movies before two? Um, I'm I don't think this needs to be another film, but this was okay. This was serviceable to the Saw fans. Like with The Exorcist and Halloween, this is like the retcon series we're doing now. We've done the sequel trilogy, we've done the requels. This is like the retcon day and age of horror now. Everything's going to be a retcon. Everything's going to be ignore all the other movies, or this is going to like kind of wedge itself in place between a couple films. I said in a previous video that they want to do this with like Friday Nightmare on Elm Street. The family who owns the Nightmare on Elm Street series has not made any comments at all. It's mostly like directors and writers and the fans who want that to happen. The Wes Craven family has just never said a word what they're doing with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and they own it. So we'll have to wait and see. But Saw continues after the debacle that was Spiral from the Book of Saw, which was not well received. It was Chris Rock's dream to make a Saw movie, and then nobody wanted it. So we'll have to see how we do with this one. What did you think of Saw X slash 1.5?
Saw, that's the thing. People ask me if it's called Saw X or if it's called Saw 10. I mean, technically, I think it is Saw 10, but because it's a horror film, when I see the X, I feel like it's Saw 10. I think it's Saw X. I mean, if people are into the Roman numerals, good for you. I'm glad you actually got that. That's an X is 10. I didn't think people were smart enough for that. Sorry, not sorry if I'm insulting anyone, but I personally call it Saw X. Now, I like the fact that this is not only does it have people from a number of the original Saw films, but it also the director is also he also was the editor, and he worked on at least five or six of the other, or this may be his sixth Saw film in the franchise. But the film focuses on John Kramer, who's played by Tobin Bell. If you don't know, he has a brain tumor. He's trying to figure out how he can survive. He goes to, a cancer support group. He talks to all these people who are trying to figure out different ways, to help their families, help with the pain and this. And one of his support members looks amazing. A few months after he sees them, he says he got this experimental treatment. It was, tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was worth it, and he has his life back. John decides to look them up. He connects with them. He goes and has this surgery. He feels brand new. This is a small thing. I got to say, the makeup in this to make him look like he's just sallow in the face and just the just discolored aspect of him, I thought was very well done in a subtle way. I mean, he looks sick. And then after this miracle surgery that he has, they give him this, like, glow of hope that he has. And to say thank you, he wants to go to the people. He kind of figures out where the secret, facility is, all this stuff. And he wants to thank them for what they did, besides the fact that he gave them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, when he goes to thank them, then he realizes this is all a scam. He, very conveniently lifts up the bandage where they had supposedly had like drilled into his skull, and there's nothing. There's no cut, there's no stitch, no nothing. So these idiots that decided to take John Kramer's money, they just messed with Jigsaw. Then the movie starts to go through the whole aspect of what is Jigsaw does. Jigsaw makes people go through puzzles. I have to say, I actually enjoyed Saw X. I thought it was much better than just going into it. I have like kind of, I don't know, I always make sure I never see anything, I never read anything about the films, but I have preconceived notions about this, a sequel, considering how I felt about some of the other uh, films in the franchise. One of the things about this, though, is Tobin Bell. Tobin Bell is Saw. Without Tobin Bell, I just don't feel like this franchise has any marrow to it. Because one of the aspects of his character, John Kramer, is yes, he puts these characters through these horrific contraptions and puzzles and all this stuff, but it's never, in his mind, it's never for revenge. Like, in his gut, he wants them to have the retribution. He wants them to fix things so that they will then become better people. Good for you. There's certain aspects of that I don't get, because it's like, hey, I want you to cut off your own leg and then suck the stuff out of it because that's going to make you a better person. I mean, it's not going to make you a worse person, I don't think. I don't know if I mean, the pain involved with that, and there's many aspects that it's like, yikes, I don't know if that's going to make you necessarily better. It'll definitely make you not want to do these things again. But it's the point with this film that this is a group of people who are, and they bring this up in the film multiple times, this is a group of people who are taking the life savings, the money from people who have cancer, like terminal aspects of cancer, taking their money, and they're like, you're giving hope to the hopeless. And you're taking the one thing that they have away, and you're taking that time away from their family. You're taking any sort of stability they can leave for their family, because they think they're giving this money to these people that then will give them that miracle cure that will let them live, 10, 15, 20 years more. Do these people deserve redemption? No. Like, good for John Kramer that he's even giving him that choice, that, because in his mind he truly is. This is like the lowest of the low that they are doing this. And again, I mean, without Tobin Bell like explaining that to proteges or people, I don't think I've seen this happen in other films where I just feel like it's just pure revenge, like especially with their faces when they make people do the different aspects of the challenges and stuff and they watch them die. It's not like anything. I don't ever see them be like, well, this could have worked. We could have helped you out and all that stuff. In this one, he does that. And without that, I don't think the Saw franchise can go on. I think this would be a nice ending to it. I know that it kind of goes into, at the end, it kind of goes into what will then become like 2 and 3 and I think 6 or something like that. I forgot the numbers. There's a lot. But again, without Tobin Bell, I just don't feel like this franchise can survive. Also, it really is like, I mean, you really have to have I mean, I got to give it to him. Like, you really have, it's really ingenious the way they do these horrific puzzles to people that technically they can survive. So there's that too. But also with this one, I felt like there were a couple aspects of it that it's like that equipment looks really crappy. So I feel like some of these people actually could have lived if maybe the equipment that was being used maybe was a little bit better, because I feel like the timing of the clock watch, it's like it was like running out, and what the people had to do, I didn't feel like that was necessarily even. But then again, you don't need to have like 5 people surviving. It's like, okay, well, we're going to take you to a hospital. I mean, not necessarily now, because you've got 3 of your friends that we have to then, do all that. But I don't know. I thought this was a solid film. I really did. I think there were it, but it to me it wasn't surprising at all that the fact that he was being scammed. Not necessarily because this was Saw, just because there was a certain aspect in it when it's all about the hush hush, the secrecy, and all that stuff. And there's a major giveaway in the film that says to me, it's like, okay, if this is so hush hush secrecy, then why are you introducing this character to this character and using their full names in this secret location after a secret procedure? That to me, it was like, okay, this is fake, this is dumb, this person's in on it, and there's that. Knowing all that and not being surprised, I enjoyed it. I thought the direction was good. I think the music is solid. Again, all the practical effects are very, very well done. Again, it's really hard just to think of different ways to kill people in as creative ways as they did, and I think they nailed it. And I think Tobin Bell is, a national treasure playing John Kramer. So that's my aspect. That's my thoughts on it. In my opinion, I think you should go see it in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, go see it in theater. I'm sure there's gonna be this mega colossal Saw box set, in the shape of some kind of like goofy trap of jigsaws. It was I had realized I had met so many people from this franchise going to so many different horror conventions. I met Carrie Elways, I met Tobin Bell, I met Shawnee Smith, I had met um who I met the second director. Who's the director of this? Lee.
Kevin Grethart, Greatart.
Who's the producer? Rather, sorry, the one that took over for 2, 3, and 4.
I don't know. It's James Blum, but I mean, there's James
James Wan's the
Wan, who
first
I
director.
know
Yeah.
directed the first one.
Yeah, James Wan directed the first one, but the second director, he's been on my show as well. Um, I got asked why isn't James Wan directing this one? I was like, because he's got Aquaman to deal with. He's got Aquaman stuff. Which, if you watched Aquaman, there was a Billy the Puppet reference or something in the first one, or it was Annabelle. It was one of his puppets. He's got to think about these puppets. That was really cool to see the Billy the Puppet like moving along its little tricycle. I don't know if that was an animatronic or what that was, or if that was like a little person in a costume. It was really well done because we don't see usually a lot of movement from the Billy the Puppet. It's just kind of there to deliver the dialogue. Its mouth opens and closes. There's a great parody online. I think the entire episode's online. Robbie the robot, the old Nintendo robot, captures a bunch of video gamer reviewers and puts them in Saw-like traps. So they have to do a countdown of the top 10 best horror video games of all time before their traps kill them. And one of the reviewers just picks up the gun and shoots the other person because she doesn't want to participate in his stupid game. He's like, "No, wait a minute, you're not supposed to do that. You two are supposed to have like some kind of like fight and no, you're completely ruining my game." She just wants out of the trap, so she just shoots the shackles off her arm and then shoots the other person. But I I went in this actually more pleasantly surprised than I was going to be. But I don't think they need to go on. There's a post credit scene, mid credit scene of what to do, what connects to the other Saw films as well. Carrie Elways does not show up in this for some really messy retcon from Part 7, which no, I know a lot of people did not like at all. The true Jigsaw apprentice. But Shawnee Smith, I thought was great as Amanda once again. The child sidekick of just Jigsaw, I thought just like out of nowhere. I mean, I just didn't get that. I hope they don't bring that kid back later on. Now he is the true apprentice of Jigsaw one day. Uh, um,
Oh, I was trying to think like who that was. I think that's just,
you
yeah, that, I
never know.
mean,
You want a franchise to go on, and if Tobin Bell doesn't want to continue doing this, or if he happens to pass away in several years, they'll be like, "Oh wait, there was that kid." They'll start a franchise with him. You know what I mean? He'll be like in his 20s, being like, Jigsaw showed me what true life is with blood and stuff, and I'm gonna continue his legacy, and for some cockamamie reason.
well, and there was an aspect of that too, that it's like, I don't know if we want to get into spoilers on this at
No,
all.
that's fine.
Um, yeah, because I mean, when they bring him, I mean, we see that at the end of this whole sequence, it's dawn. So when he would have been doing that, when people figure out like where he is and where he, it's like that would have been like at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, or something
Something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So why was that kid kicking a ball against abandoned building at like 4 or 5 in the morning? I
I
mean,
thought that was really weird too. Maybe he's got
that
soccer practice in another. Maybe. I mean, trust. I've been up very early in the morning. At like 7:30, I've seen kids at a soccer field, and there must be a soccer because there's a bunch of adults standing outside the fences. I'm like, oh, there must be a game happening. So maybe there's a game about to happen. He's got to get in
well,
his practice.
that was, it's like, and that's fine. Usually you don't practice like that right before the game though, because that, I mean, you warm up at the game so you're not tired to play then an hour and a half. But
That was
that
just
was
for them to
actually
figure out
just,
how to get him into the plot line.
yeah, because I didn't even think about that until right now. But I mean, again, it's, you need to have that synergy that only John Kramer enacts between violence and morality, and how
Right.
he's, that's his like moral compass with Carlos. But yeah, thinking about that now, it's like I'm like, yeah, what the hell was that kid doing there like at 5 in the morning or something like that? Because Dawn would have come up at 6, and they had, I mean, I don't know, weak point, but
Weak point. Yeah.
hopefully, yeah, maybe.
Go check out Saw. I recently heard they're going to be re-releasing the Saw video games. There were two Saw video games possibly on the current consoles. We'll have to wait and see. Um, if you want to watch these in some kind of order, it's Jigsaw, Saw X, Saw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then Spiral. So that is basically the proper timeline to watch these movies. Check out the rest of the videos here on the Radio Horror YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll be back with another exciting review, possibly Five Nights at Freddy at the end of the month here on the Radio Horror YouTube channel. Check out Katie over on her Facebook page, the Blonde in Front, and on my page, Radio Horror.